Mr. Watson worked as a forester for many years. Once upon a time he lived in the city, worked in the police. And at that time he had a family, and now he is alone. Somehow did not work out for his wife. A son died a couple of years ago, got pneumonia, got complications. How many they didn't fight, nothing happened. Fate, this man is having a hard time, you don't wish this on anyone. Son Mr. Watson, Elijah, a young man, was very smart, so he always worked. Where are the brains, they are hands. Elijah was an enviable groom, but he had no luck with girls. He constantly fell in love with the wrong people. Forever strange women he came across. Girls he had a lot, but the most memorable was one, most likely just Kay, and loved her all my life. But she just left him and disappeared. He looked for her everywhere, even turned to TV, but did not find. She was coming. Who is she and where is she from? He did not know. Now fashionable among young people does not get to know each other closely, they are so easy. For what load one's head after that? How did she disappear? Elijah walked on his own. He did not understand why she left him. Parents were also shocked, because she is his first girlfriend, and she really suits him. They thought strictly, but somehow they accepted it, only asked, so that they would not rush with children, and didn't want to get old. Certainly the same, it was a joke. Young woman was a pure angel. Mr. Watson even scolded. Elijah recalls, how could you hurt her? I hope I won't be ashamed of you. But everything was fine. I don't understand anything. Elijah suffered for about a year, and then found my salvation in another girl. She didn't look like that, and they met for a short time. After there were many others, I couldn't count everyone. Mr. Watson really wanted grandchildren before his ex-wife Mrs. Watson, but the son was somehow in no hurry. Here I didn't make it. The father took the death of his child very seriously. Not should be so, to bury the parents of their children. He grieved for a long time, and then just went to the taiga, where he got a job as a forester. Nothing else was held in the city. Earlier even a son, and now there is absolutely nothing. He gave him a house, in which he settled. He enjoyed life all alone. He didn't tell anyone where he was going, only ex-wife knew. And managed to maintain friendly relations. Such shared grief. Mr. Watson, I really liked living in the taiga. He does not accept civilization at all, doesn't even use a cell phone, and lives for pleasure. There are few people, that is, there is no need to communicate with someone, you are your own boss. Certainly, you won't live alone for long. Here talking to one woman, she cooks food for him, then invites you to the bath. So nothing serious. Sometimes he goes to town to talk to his ex-wife, find out the news. She is already married and happily married. Great, the relationship turned out somehow by chance. We're young, a son was born, and all 30 years lived for the sake of the son, even though they didn't even like each other. They openly talked about it to each other. Forrester is completely satisfied with his life, he lives like in the primeval age. It's a pity only a woman, there, who cooks borscht for him. The poor keep hoping. Mr. Watson, you ate borscht. Thank you, delicious. You march, would not go every day to me in the forestry, what will people think? Oh, what is there to think? I have been running after you for years, from and everything you turn up your nose. Not gotta run after me, I don't like it and I don't understand. But it's hard to be alone all the time, think by yourself, all alone. Gave. Woman, you need to keep the house clean, you are hinting at yourself, how will you need, so you're first. From these words Maria stopped feeling like a woman, but quickly forgot everything. I was attracted to this man. They are no longer young and have no choice. I really want to have a husband in the house. Without a man it's hard for women in taiga villages. Know what to chop them, not fence new. Maria understands perfectly. Here he is trying to improve relations with Mr. Watson. He came to them from the city, doesn't drink, works a lot, locals have long been dismantled, and women wore a lot of loose clothing. Mr. Watson not only liked her, many women dreamed of getting to know him better, but Mr. Watson, accustomed to single life, didn't want a new relationship. To one it was much easier. After the death of his son, he did not want to be tied to anyone, and tried not to show feelings towards others. Guys nicknamed him Berry Bear. This nickname stuck to him quickly. The thing is that as soon as he arrived at the cordon, a terrible situation happened. He walked around his domain, as the teddy bear noticed. The bear cub rushed to play with him. Then Mr. Watson was not an experienced forester, and did not know that the cubs do not go far from the mother bear in the bushes. A surprise was waiting for him. Bear did not understand his good intentions and decided to stand up for her baby. She pounced on the new forester, beat him up quite a bit. If there were no guns, then, more likely, he would die. He didn't want to kill the bear, but it was self-defense. He still regrets it. Small A mouse left. Mr. Watson understood that the bear cub would not survive in the wild taiga without worries, and Mama had to take him to her. Long while he bottle fed him. Mr. Watson treated for a long time, wounds were hard to heal, A mouse meanwhile the dew grew stronger. He was very attached to his master, and when it's time to part, he didn't want to leave at all. A mouse was not at all like the local bears. Or so it seemed to the forester. He often later met him in the forest, and always recognized. Bear also remembers his master. For myself, Mr. Watson called the bear with a warm Mr. Watson passes his section in the taiga every 2 days. Sometimes it happens more often. For example, recently people got lost in the taiga. Precinct gathered local foresters to find people. Tourists do not understand that taiga this is a dangerous place to stay. Iron taiga is home to wild animals, and people its easy prey. Tourists arrived to take a break from city life. By 2 days they disappeared from communication. As cities gave orders what to start looking for. People organized a search party. Locals, who live in a taiga village, have known the area for a long time. People, unfortunately, they are constantly losing. Often, they are not found. All tourists go to the charming lake, which is near the village, and then go for mushrooms, buy the berries and get lost. So happened to these people. On Friday morning they arrived to relax on a beautiful lake. 2 days were in touch, and then they lost contact. And for 3 days none of these people got in touch. Precinct went to that place, where they rested, but found only a car and tents. There were no people, therefore, search parties were immediately created, which were sent to different parts of the taiga. Search went on for about a week. Many already lost hope of finding tourists alive, but an experienced forester managed to stumble upon their trail. There were broken branches. Quickly, a man passed by. Straight away saw tourists in the taiga for the first time. After all, the locals have learned, if they go somewhere, then leave some notes, to find my way back. Taiga is very large and at first glance it seems the same. High trees will lead anyone astray. Sometimes even an experienced person, who passed this taiga up and down, can get lost. Mr. Watson continued down the road along the broken twigs, and after 2 hours of walking, he found a large mountain of branches. Coming up closer, he understood that it is made by human hands. In this makeshift sat 3 tourists they were looking for. People went to the taiga to find mushrooms, but quickly lost. Unfortunately, they didn't find the way back. Went all day, but did not understand where they came from. On the 2nd day they also did not lose hope and continued to search for a way out. And as a result, they went to the middle of the taiga. Forces were running out. Tourists no longer hoped that they would be found, tried roots, berries and mushrooms, all nuts, which grow in taiga. Even hid from wild animals several times. They were terribly scared, and they will remember this trip for a lifetime. Mr. Watson, even Ministry of Emergency Situations, issued a letter of assistance. Cases, when people get lost, so many. No one is safe from this. Mr. Watson used to, that something is always happening in the taiga. He likes his work, despite everything. Work in the police made him stress-resistant to any situation. Often in his work there are unpleasant situations. People in the village, they know Mr. Watson is like a person who will always come to the rescue and ask nothing in return. It was a normal summer day. Mr. Watson as always did a detour of his territory. Today he was going to stop the bath, but his plans changed dramatically. Almost at the end of his round he noticed a little girl, who was filled with tears. This was weird, not a soul around, just a little girl, who sits and cries. As the evening approached, it was already getting dark. Why are you crying? Where are you? Here me brought me here with my mother, eh? Where is she? We went to my grandfather, fought in the forest, and I got lost. Girls started crying again. A mother was looking. We came from the city, through the forest quickly to the village, so someone told Mom. Then we saw a bear. Mother said, run, I ran. Girls sobbed bitterly. Bear, which side did you run to? Stand. Girl couldn't decide. Which direction did she come from? A well-ending cry, we will find your mother, don't worry. Man understood, what if a bear came out to meet them, then the chances of finding a girl are small, but tried to calm the baby. So let's go to my house, it's getting dark, sit with Aunt Maria, and I'll look for my mother. Here is the exact one and you will find, certainly, I know all the tracks. I agree, little girl, calm down. They set off from the village. Girl, she shed tears all the way and the bear was very frightened. Man did not know how to distract her, he had no experience with children, or rather, he doesn't even remember how it's done. They walked for about an hour and finally the forester came. Pavel, girl in a woman's house, who always follows him. Maria, I am. Hello, Mr. Watson. Oops, and who is we here? So tearful Maria, very surprised that Mr. Watson came to her. Yes, from a child. Let's go, we need to talk, Mr. Watson said sternly. They stepped aside. Mr. Watson started talking softly, so that the girl did not hear anything. Mary, can you look after the girl? I have her in our forest. She was running from a bear. Her mother is out there somewhere. I'll go look for her. Where you will go? Already getting dark, but if the bear attacks her and she needs help. You are. Right, just take care of yourself, Maria. I can wander through the taiga until the morning. You don't wait for me, as petit invest. Wait, I will bring you sandwiches. How hungry will you be? Maria, a very nice and caring woman. She quickly ran into the house and in a couple of minutes carried sandwiches and tea in a thermos. Important, where did you put so much? I just for the night, they are for a month, Mr. Watson smiled. His terribly infuriated, what Maria ready for anything for him. However, and he liked the worries, she saved his stomach from snacking many times. Girl, what is your name? My name is Alice. Let's go to the house, and Uncle Mr. Watson is going to look for Mom. I have a photo of my mother. Yes, why am I taking a picture? Not sure that I will meet many women in the taiga at night, Mr. Watson chuckled. Promise to find my mom. The girl looked directly into the eyes of the forester. I promise. Her gaze penetrated deep into his soul. Forrester went to taiga. He took the weapon, 3 flashlights and matches. He understood that in the beginning it is very difficult to find someone. He hoped that the light would attract the attention of a person. Maria with Alice and went to the house. Maria immediately decided to feed the child. Girl did not refuse, she was hungry. Maria was a granddaughter, who came for the weekend, so she had toys and children's books. She was about 7 years old. She already read well. That's why, to distract, Maria gave a children's book. Alice was so addicted that fell asleep. Cook in hand, Mr. Watson went to the place. Where did you find the girl? Went around the circle within a radius of 1 kilometer from this place. All this time he gave voice and fire. Night passed quickly, but he didn't give up, drove until 10 a.m., but did not even stumble upon the trace of the girl. He was surprised. Maybe the girl ran away from the place where they met the bear. Back home, he called the policeman, who immediately called the Ministry of Emergency Situations. When the squad was formed, he went to Mary. Coming there, Alice immediately rushed to him. Uncle Mr. Watson, you found no, until I wear. Now people will gather, and we'll go again. My little bear ate. The girl cried again. Not came up with a bear. We are good here, I want to grow. He now always greets me even. You show it to me, how to find Mom, I will definitely show. By the way, you said, do you have a picture of your mom? He looked up and almost fell off my chair. This can't be. How is it possible this girl, who once abandoned his son, disappeared without explanation? For what you came here, well, I told you to where Mr. Watson to grandfather, he lives here, only I never saw him. Want get to know him. I met my grandmother, dressed right here. Interesting, cold, find, and we all know, Mr. Watson smiled, looking at the girl. I and Maria came home, I heard in the store, that in 3 hours go in search of. Yes, right, you need a sleep. How you walk all day then you will, Maria, we need to talk to you. Went from this. They went outside, Alice started watching cartoons. This young woman, who got lost, is my friend. They came here to visit relatives. Interesting, who is their relative? Not I know. Yellowing, there is no such. In the neighboring villages I hardly know anyone. Where do you know her? This is my son's girlfriend. Rest in peace, remember, tell, what disappeared, remember, I need to find her anyway. I want to know why she did this to my son. Let's get some sleep now, and I will wake you up. Fine, I really need to sleep. I'm falling down. Mr. Watson lay down on the couch in the hallway. Maria with Alice, let's pick strawberries. For this girl was interested in everything, she has never been to the village. Mr. Watson quickly fell asleep. Forrester woke up the precinct. The village quickly spread rumors and everyone knew, what does he have Mary speak, because the baby is getting up bare. Let's go, young lady, look for yours. I stand. They went to the forest. The comb through the forest is lighter, when there are many people. Plus a helicopter with rescuers was sent to the people, because the girl can be injured. People searched the earth, and the helicopter was looking from above. How strange to us, but the helicopter managed to find the girl quickly, she lay on the ground. The walkie-talkie passed that the girl lies. And does not move. Transferred coordinates, how it lies and does not move. First for many years of work Mr. Watson the panic began. People go to that square. Diana was. Catherine really lay on the ground, her hand was broken, and she saw that she lost a lot of blood. She was conscious, but very weak. Forrester rushed to her. Catherine, what's happened where my daughter barely squeezed out of a girl? She's doing well, but at my house they look after her. Means still found Catherine passed out. Whom our elbow the Forrester began to shake the girl found. The girl was loaded by helicopter and very quickly taken to the hospital. Mr. Watson did not understand what he should do, he didn't know what to say to the child, and he thought about the words that the girl said. Back in the village, he ran to Mary. A lot, we found her. I want to ask you, so that you can support her a little more. I urgently need to get to the city. Tell her that Mom was found, that she is in the hospital and will arrive soon. Come up with something do you know how to talk Baba, drive, we will figure it out. Mr. Watson was very nervous, he really wanted to share with his ex-wife, that meeting that broke my son's heart, so he immediately went to her. He often comes to visit her and communicates very well with her other husband. Mrs. Watson, you will not believe who I met in Taiga. I made a detour and found a girl, and this is the daughter Noah Catherine, that she abandoned our son, like a girl in our Taiga. They let's go. Mrs. Watson confused, like stones. Catherine fought with a bear in the forest, and the girl ran away. God, she is alive, hand all disassembled, lost a lot of blood. Hospital now, I don't know anything more. Why did they go to me? Mr. Watson, you girl video, she is a copy of our Zelenka in childhood, Raya smiled. I don't understand you, that's why we evolved. You never understand anything. Listen, then just sit back. Well, I'm ready. On days they came to me. I was very surprised. Comes Catherine this, yes, even from a child. She then didn't understand our jokes. When we joked about children, pregnant and afraid, what we are against. More Elijah not ready to be a father. Decided she hid her pregnancy from him, went to Mom, returned and. As the fear didn't go away, I had to rent another apartment for her and from Lashki hide. Now she wants Alex to know that she is pregnant. Bad was, and now her mother is dead, no relatives. She remembered, granddaughter decided to introduce her granddaughter. This what Alice my granddaughter know, well, what were you listening to? Here and no need, she is a copy of our son. Not may be, this is my granddaughter. I'm sitting here with you, need to buy gifts, get away from you, same as father. Long thought, go better. Mr. Watson jumped out of the apartment, went to the baby store, bought toys and sweets. He was extremely happy, he couldn't believe that he had been like a grandfather for 7 years. Drove home to the hospital. Catherine recovered. Catherine, well, how are you? How is it Allie great? She is a grandmother Maria babysits on the border. Do you want to tell me? Not necessary, I know everything, I'm going from Mrs. Watson. She told me everything, not understanding just one, how could you think, what we and Alex not happy baby? Silly was, didn't imagine, what happiness is. This great happiness. I gave you a car with gifts for all 7 years. Now I'm going to confess that my grandfather. Mr. Watson laughed. You look after her, while I'm here, we have no one else to turn to. We alone are left. What for nonsense, not other people's. I know grandfather, where I'm going, letter, a bear since met we went off the road taxi, did not go further, quicker total, he was taking us on the wrong road at all. Approximately explained, where to go and left. But we are going. I heard that the branches crunch, and there is a bear and a huge bear. Alice blew for her to run, and she tried to answer him, so that he would not run after her. Distracted, how could? Well, so she got me and ran. But there was another bear in the forest, who scared him. Amazing, small, but beautiful. Sight he is so human. He didn't touch me, but instead stood, until the bear was gone. What bears I already understood, when she left, as the teddy bear crawled out of the bushes, and this one looked at me and went into the depths of the forest. I have never seen a bear so close. Hope that I won't see it again. I almost died of fright. This fine, that the bear just shoved me with her paw. It's all hand torn. By what stupa save bear human eye. I bottle fed him. Europe in front of my eyes, felt, maybe, native blood. We talked and laughed for a long time. Catherine was already feeling good, but the doctors did not allow her to talk for a long time, because her body was still weak. Mr. Watson went home. Had arrived he was late at night, Alice already asleep. On the way home he bought a phone. Now you are my whom the connection to keep how she listened to everything. I was glad that mom was found today didn't even cry. Maria, thank you so much, helped me out a lot. Necessary to wake her up. Let's go when we come to me, this my granddaughter, turns out, like your granddaughter. Long history. Let's tell me, I won't let you out of the house, until you tell everything. Maria all shown, she was waiting for details. Cold, I see that you won't let go. So settle down. History is long. Mr. Watson told everything to Mary, she was glad that he is not alone now. Forrester is very proud that he is now a grandfather. Maria persuaded him not to have a granddaughter, and went to sleep. He resisted for a long time, but still agreed. Night passed quickly. Mr. Watson was surprised he spa so well. For a long time he didn't have that dream. He woke up many times during the night. He woke up and saw, what Maria no longer sleeping. The pancakes are smoking on the table, which smells very good. For a long time he never woke up. Maria looked at him with familiar eyes, even showed him for a moment that they have known each other for a long time. Maria, thank you for everything. Yes, what you, Mr. Watson, my pleasure, you know, me for you. Great Alice interrupted the conversation, who was already awake. I immediately rushed to her with confessions and stories about her mother. Alice started smiling, and he immediately noticed that she really looks like their son. Now he knew that he has someone to live with. Dead, remember, you promised to introduce me to a bear, granddaughter, I'll introduce you. Tomorrow. Thank you, but we're going home. Let's print gifts. I bought a lot of them. Hooray! Let's go home. At home, called Catherine. Alice long listed Mom, what did her grandfather buy, and in the evening Mary came to them. She was not empty-handed. I cooked food here, and then I know you, will you feed the child sandwiches? Cold, I went. Mary, wait, I'd been thinking, you are a good woman and you were right, that it's hard for me alone. Maybe we should try. From these words Maria broke into a smile, but answered calmly, although cockroaches were already dancing in full swing in my head. I think. Sage turned around and left. But think! Shouted after her. To his liking, what Maria did not immediately agree. It even cheered him up. They ate and went to bed. In the morning Taiga was going to get acquainted with Roy. Here and the morning came. Sun had shone brightly, and it was already 8 in the morning when the heat was felt. They gathered, took with them a treat for the bear and a gun. Mr. Watson was sure what the bears would find, only Alice doubted. Grandfather, why do we need weapons? If it's a bear, then we will meet, and we will have to be saved. Not meet. Us types will save, like a mother. Well, let's hope, Grandfather smiled. By hour they were in a small clearing. Grandfather said softly, I'm a bear. And the trees are already creaking. Bear always came quickly, as soon as I heard a native voice. Forrester very often came to this glade. He talked to the bear a lot, because he did not make other friends here. Mr. Watson is too closed, it's hard for him to make friends. The only one his friend is a bear, which he must grow. Oops, I'm scared of something. Small Pens hugged Mr. Watson behind. At this moment he was the happiest. How for a long time he lacked the usual human kindness. When Alice hugged him, he got the impression that his son hugged him, and he's 25 again. Tears flowed down my cheeks. He remembered my son. Was very hard to comprehend that there is no son. He still hasn't calmed down. Even Slippery helped him to forget at least for a while. From the thickets of the forest a bear came out, who immediately approached the forester. Bear as if in arms. You, where are you going? You saw yourself, you already have big hands. Started stroking the bears, Mr. Watson. Alice laughed out loud and held out a bear cookie. He was careful, ate it, and they stroked him for a long time and laughed. Then the bear decided to leave. Bear turned around. He looked at him with a human eye. Was seen that he understands and listens attentively. Thank you to my family. You sorry, what happened in the forest then? I didn't want to shoot, do you understand? You always understood me, even when no one wanted to listen to me. I always went to you, when you wanted to speak. If you listened, Bear, you heard everything and hid in the thicket of the forest. He looked at the forester, like saying goodbye. So it worked out. Since then, Mr. Watson never saw him again. Forrester spoke from another village, that he was seen from a completely different angle. Maybe he just grew up and went to build his family.